you over.
Oh, that's okay. All right, good morning, everybody. How are ya? Good, okay. I have a question for you. How much is an idea worth? How much is an idea worth? Is it worth $1? Is it worth $100? Is it worth $10,000? Is it worth $1 million? Is it worth an IPO offering? How much is an idea worth? Ideas are the new commodity of the 21st century. Richard Florida, Rise of the Creative Class. A great book, by the way. I highly recommend you read it. And yet, as I travel across North America, training and speaking on creative and innovative thinking, very few people really think that they're creative. What's also interesting is there was a recent study released by the IBM Leadership Institute that revealed the following. What do chief executive officers really want? The answer bears important consequences for management as well as companies, customers, and shareholders. The qualities that a CEO values most in the company team set a standard that affects everything from product development and sales to long-term success of an enterprise. Would you agree? There's compelling new evidence that CEOs' priorities in this area are changing in very important ways. According to a survey of 1,500 chief executive officers conducted by the IBM Institute for Business Values, CEOs identify creativity as the most important leadership competency for a successful enterprise into the future. How many of you are actually surprised at that? In fact, that creativity is not about operational effectiveness, it's not about influence, and even dedication, good communication skills, all the things that are what we call soft skills that we train on. Coming out of the worst economic downturn in their professional lifetimes, when managerial discipline and rigor ruled the day, this indicates a remarkable shift in attitude. It is consistent with the studies from other major findings. We are in a global, complex society and world view, and chief executives see a large gap between the level of complexity coming our way and their confidence that their enterprises are equipped to deal with them. What do you think about that? Is that pretty profound? We've got to be more equipped than ever before. We are asked to do more with less. How many of you feel that? More with less? Okay? No matter what sector of the economy you're in, whether it's government or a Fortune 500 company, we've got to stay competitive, be more competitive. We've got to innovate. We've got to try something new. We've got to come up with something new. But how do you do that? Creativity seems daunting. But I'm here to tell you it's different. How would you like it in the next few minutes if I could help you be creative? What do you think? Would you like that? Okay, I got to hear a big resounding yes. Okay, louder. Yes, I guarantee you, if you hang with me in the next few minutes, I will give you something called an ideation process. Imagineering, as they call it in Disney. And I guarantee you, you'll be able to remember it, and you'll be able to take it back to your organizations and model it. Imagine this. If every person in your organization believed, knew, and could be creative, what would that be like? Okay, is everybody ready? Is everybody ready? Okay, here we go. I'm going to put down my mic. There's a book on the market called Orbiting the Giant Hairball. It's written by Gordon McKenzie, a former artist at Hallmark greeting cards. The book is about the challenge between being in a corporate environment and staying creative. And in that book, he reveals this, that when he used to go around to the Kansas City school systems, he volunteered to help people with their creativity, kids. He'd go into a first grade classroom and say, okay, kids, how many of you are creative? Typical response, ooh, ooh, me. You remember? By the time he got to the 6th grade classroom, he'd say, okay, kids, how many of you are creative? high school. Okay, kids, how many of you are creative? In the spirit of teaching and educating our kids, in some respects, we have socialized their creativity right out of our kids. And in fact, the founder or the originator of the land Polaroid camera said that creativity is actually unlearned growing up. Do you believe that? So, I'm going to invite you to go back to your childhood for a few minutes. Are you ready to go? Are you ready to play? Guess what? It's very tough to be creative when you're stressed. And as we get older and get more conditioned, we actually become more detached from our creativity. And the call of the hour in our corporate life, in our current economy, is to access the brilliance of our childhood and to take it into our real lives today professionally and make something happen. And every single person can do that. Companies don't innovate, people do. One at a time and collaboratively. So, I invite you today to become a first grader. All right, is everybody ready? Here we go. First we have to put on our first grader hat. All righty, everybody, put your hands to your side, either side, right or left, whatever's comfortable for you. And by the way, everybody must play. So you have permission to nudge the person next to you, this nudge your neighbor hour, if they're not participating, because participation is fun. All right, and you're gonna put on your first grader hat. Everybody, please. Okay, good, okay. Now, I want you to get that first grader feel. I want you to feel yourself grabbing a crayon. Smell the crayon. Remember what it smells like? Crayola crayons. Yes, they have a patented scent. Can you just feel it? And I would like for you to take your pen, your writing utensil, whatever you have, and I would like you to put it in your opposite hand. And I would like for you to write your name as it was when you were in first grade. Go! How'd that feel? Did that feel good? All right, now, how many of you, does that look like your signature from first grade? Show it to your neighbor, show it to your neighbor, sure it does. Oh, does it? Okay, that is not first grade. All right, very good. Now, we're still in our first grader feel, right? Remember, you're so excited, you wanted to learn, you couldn't wait to go to school. And now, we're going to learn how to access that creativity, but you have to do it with me in a very unique way. So everybody put your writing utensils down, hands on the table. Go like this. Okay, did you know that in creative and innovative thinking, you've got to engage all your senses? So here we go. I want you to do this with me. Left, right, left. Go! Very good. Okay, now I want you to say it. Left, right, left. Go! Oh no, louder, louder. Left, be more verbal. Okay, did you know, this is urban legend. Urban legend had it. There were a bunch of creative people sitting around in an office someplace in New York, and they had an insurance company for a client, and they were doing what's called verbal and pounding and all these types of doing, try to be creative. And a person had their pen, they're going, blah. They're making noises. Blah. That sounds like a duck. Of course, that ad has made like millions of dollars. All from what we call creative play. All right. So, the creative process goes like this. Left, right, left. Do it again. Go. Left, right. Go verbal. Go. Left, right. Okay, so the creative process is what? Left, right, left. You got it. Okay, one more time. Left, right, left. Go. Left, right, left. Okay, do it with your feet. Go. Left, right, left. With your feet. Go. Left, right, left. Okay, now, for you people are thinking, this is really strange. She's having us pounding the table like this. There's a reason. The left, right, left actually means something. Left, and I would really encourage you to write this down. Part one. By the way, did you know that you could tell your brain how to think? You could actually tell your brain how to operate. The most important asset that you have is your brain. Do you believe that? Yeah. How many of you have ever heard the phrase that we only use 10% of our brains? In general, our thinking, innovative, problem-solving, process improvement is very underdeveloped. Imagine if your teams developed their thinking, how different the outcomes would be. By the way, how easier it would be on managers and leaders if people really took more ownership for how they thought. Okay, so the creative process goes left. Here's what you got to do. Tell your left brain to shut up. Tell your left brain to shut up. Why do you have to tell your left brain to shut up? What are the primary functions of the left brain? Somebody, anybody, the primary functions of the left brain? Yeah, logic, reasoning, analytical, very judgment. By the way, if you know someone who's extremely judgmental, they're very left brain. The left brain shuts ideas down like this. The left brain needs control. The left brain needs to be right. Those are the very things that undermine and squash creativity. And they want to be right the first time. Okay? So the left brain really is what undermines creativity, generally speaking, right in the very beginning. So, step one in the creative process, tell the left brain to. That's right. Tell it to go to sleep, go on vacation. It needs a rest. Now we're going to go to the right. The next right is to stimulate. Everybody say it with me, go. Stimulate. Okay, what are the primary functions of the right brain? Somebody, anybody? Creativity. Yes, part of the creative process, it is the emotional, spontaneous, intuitive part of the brain. It's the brain that likes to multitask. I have a book I introduced on organization and time management. Right brainers do this in the work environment. Pick up, put down, oh, hello. Pick up, put down, oh, email, oh, it's 12 o'clock, I gotta go to lunch. The right brain is very open, very spontaneous, and you've got to stimulate the right brain. Guess what? The left brain never had the original idea. It's where the right brain that all of that stuff happens. How many of you have ever been in a meeting? It goes like this. Okay, staff, let's come up with ideas. And everybody sits there like this. Deer with headlights. Why is that? Because usually when people go into a meeting of ideas, their left brain is still on. So you've got to stimulate the right brain. I'm going to give you my 5 favorite ways to stimulate the right brain. Number 1, sing in the shower. Do you know that singing harmonics actually stimulates your brain? Okay, number 2 is to read children's books. Why? How are children's books designed? Pictures! Yay! What kind of pictures? Yeah, bright primary colors. Very rhythmic, right? Very rhythmic. Hey, by the way, you can read 5 books in a week. It's good for your self-esteem. You can go to a party and say, yep, read 5 books this week. They don't have to know it's green eggs and ham. Right? Okay? Most adults during the workday are reading white paper, black text, instead of all the bright, brilliant colors. Okay, so what do we have so far? Number 1, go! Say it with me. Number 2. Okay, number 3 is to draw on blank paper with Crayola crayons. It's very important. Why blank paper? No lines. Yeah, no lines. Why Crayola crayons? Memory and texture, right. There is a patented formula in terms of how a Crayola crayon smells that will access your subconscious mind and start to stimulate your memories from your childhood in a positive way, and that's a good reason to have it as well. Okay, next, take a brisk 5-minute walk. Why is that important? Keep that blood moving, that's right. Okay, and you're going to draw on a blank paper with your eyes closed. That's one of my favorites. Okay? Okay, so that's left, right, and then I'm going to do the next right is to saturate. Okay? Saturate means you take relevant information and you saturate your brain with it for 3 or 4 days. Kind of like the sponge, you stick in a bucket, pull it out, and it's just soak it with stuff. So what do? Saturate your brain with best practices, what other industries are doing. You got to saturate your brain, you got to bring in the new to combine it with the old. Okay? And then your brain starts spitting out ideas, and then you bring your left brain in and you tell your left brain, wake up! Everybody say it with me. Wake up. You gotta wake up that left brain, and what will your left brain happily do? It starts sorting through your ideas, but be careful. if you're not used to using your ideas, your brain might overjudge those ideas out of fear. As I close, please know this. I believe fear is the greatest enemy of human potential. Test ideas in a low-risk environment. And the ideation process does this. When you test ideas, what do you get? More ideas. The brilliance of ideation. Everyone is creative. Have you learned something today? Are you excited to take it back to your organizations? Look forward to seeing you again. Thanks very much.